Hey, what's up, family? Um, Back at it, sharing with you the Come Follow Me. Also picked up a book at a Deseret bookstore. Really helpful for insights. Um, Today, reading is Matthew 16 and 17, Mark 9, and Luke 9. I'd like to talk a little bit about. This one's in Mark 9. It'll be starting at verse 14, or a man brings a son who has a lunatic in him. And I'm going to start actually at verse 17. And Jesus helps the man with his unbelief and cast out the lunatic. And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which hath a dumb spirit. And one of the things that I like to do when reading this to make it a lot more personal for me and to get a greater understanding of how it must have felt to be with the Savior and to be able to learn more from the Savior is I always try to put myself in this man's shoe in the story. And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which hath a dumb spirit. And wheresoever he taketh him, he teareth him. And so who teareth him? The dumb spirit. And he foameth and gnasheth with his teeth and pineth away. And I spake to thy disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. And he answered him and said, or he answered the Father. I mean, so it kind of reads that he answered him, and so I would say, and he answereth me, and saith, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him unto me. And they brought him unto him. And when he saw him, straightway the spirit, or the evil spirit, tear him, and he fell on the ground and wallowed foaming. And he asked his father, or he asked me, how long is it ago since this came unto him? And the father replied, and he said, of a child. So since the boy was a child. And oft times it hath cast him into the fire, or the evil spirit hath cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. And then he asked the Savior, but if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us. And this is kind of interesting because to me, and maybe you guys can tell me in some other place because I can't think of it right now, but it's one of the first times where I feel like the Savior is speaking to this man and not just to his. Well, that's not true. I guess he did it to a lot of them. He kind of gave them advice or told them, go and sin no more. But for the first time, I kind of saw it to where he was telling this man, Jesus said unto him, if thou canst believe, or if you can believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe. Help thou my unbelief. So in the conversation that he's having, and imagine the Savior having a conversation with you, and he's telling you, look, if you can believe, he didn't say, it's a good thing I was passing by, or, he didn't, necessarily, only the apostles could have done it. He says to the man, looks right at the man, just like he's looking at you and I, and he's saying, look, with faith, you can do it as well. And so, how does that, how does that make me feel to know that, if the Savior were here, he would say to me the same thing? There's things going on here that, in this world that, maybe not this extreme, but I know in our own life, there's times where, he would expect us to do, exercise faith in our own lives and to, do as much as you can do to solve your own problems and to, when I think of like the brother of Jared, when he was building the barges and stuff, and he said, well, what am I going to do? We're not going to have air, and so the Lord says to cut a hole at the top, and when the water comes in, close it. And then he asks him again. He says, well, we're not going to have light. What are we going to do about that? And the Lord says, I don't know. What should we do, or what should you do about that? And he encouraged him to think for yourself, and that's what he wants us to do. And I think that's what any parent would want of their children. I have 6 children, and my youngest is 17. And I've tried to raise my children that same way, thinking, I don't know what you're going to do. To help them to think for themselves and to do for themselves, because in this world, that's what it's all about, is overcoming obstacles in our life and being able to step up to any challenges that come your way. All right. So that's my good word for the day to the Tama family, Fumona family, and to Blue Mills Ward as well, and to anybody else in the Independent Stake. If you have any question or comments, I'd really like you put them down. This would help us to, when we go to class on Sunday, be able to know what's going on in class and maybe just ask a few questions. And if we continue to share this way, the I think the classes will benefit greatly. Have a good Thursday. Take care.